how accurate is that scale going to be? So like I said before, we're not legal for trade. There are legal for trade belt scales. They're ridiculously expensive. There's a market for that. We don't cover that market yet. Maybe at some point we will with this new partnership with Cardinal. But as it stands now, we're not legal for trade. And we don't really guarantee results. I know that sounds weird. Like, no, we're never going to guarantee a result. There's so much out of our, that things that we can control, right? So the conveyor, the belt, all these things are out of our control. All we can do is say a suggested guideline is like we would expect a properly installed scale in a good application to be plus or minus 0.5 to 1% at 20 to 100% of scale capacity. So that 20 to 100% of scale capacity is important. That just means there's got to be a decent load on that scale before we're going to say it's going to be nice and accurate. But so that example is, so that's like 2 to 400 pounds out of a 40,000 pound truckload. So that's pretty close. Like 200 pounds out of 40,000 pound truckload, that's very accurate. That's for the single idler scale. Now, if you get the guy that's like, I needed this as accurate as possible. And one example is like fertilizer. Fertilizer is really expensive, far more expensive than traditional sand and gravel products, for example. If he's like, that extra 0.25% could be thousands of dollars over a year. If he can get that little bit extra accuracy, then you're going to go for the dual idler. But the same thing applies. We still need, 20 to 100% of scale capacity before we're really going to say, yep, that's going to be real accurate. We can expect really good results out of this. So a couple of those factors that we're looking for is, again, slow-moving, heavily loaded belts are absolutely the best. Lightly loaded belts can be a problem, mainly because like wind and rain and the environment can cause more error on a lightly loaded belt than a nice slow-moving, heavily loaded belt. So we're dealing with things that are completely out of our control. That's why we have to be careful in this process to make sure the customer's expectations are in line. So a couple things: scale shouldn't be near the header tail. Fully belt tension can be an issue if it's not properly adjusted. We're going to go through a couple more of those when we get to the installation section.